Southeast Michigan Podcast, what is up? We are back after essentially a week off. We took a bye week and it wasn't intentional, but as I've said before, life gets in the way. Uh, Monday, Mondays for like the last 2 months, my son's got baseball practice, and so last week we had that. Uh, Tuesday, Monday, the college game, of course, dropped as well for if you pre-ordered it. So played a quick game before I went to baseball practice, played after. Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday, same thing. And then we're at Thursday, and definitely couldn't do a podcast then because I was at Comerica Park for the Def Leppard and Journey concert. And so then we're looking at Friday, and then it just wasn't going to happen. Had stuff going on Friday. Saturday had baseball game, helped my father-in-law move. And then Sunday, I was just so exhausted after what has happened over the last 7 days. It was just, it was a bye day, bye week day. Just took the day off, hung out by the pool, and just kind of relaxed. And I was kind of fighting fatigue all week long last week because I'm staying up till 12:30 every night playing college football, and it just catches up to you. And then, I shouldn't, right? But it's hard not to stay up late on the weekends. And, I'm still a young man at heart. And, when the boys are on Xbox or, we're playing video games, sometimes it trickle into the 2 o'clock hour and we're like, all right, well, it's time to bounce. But we had that going on. This is kind of a short and sweet episode update, kind of catch up what's going on in the Michigan football world since we last spoke on it. It's been a few weeks actually, because while that particular part of the show's been on hold, we've been doing the broad spectrum. We've been doing the Big Ten preseason preview, 2 teams each week up until we get to Ohio State, Michigan, and last week obviously didn't have one, so you're gonna probably have 3 episodes this week dished out. And we're starting with this one with kind of like I said, a Michigan football catch up kind of thing. Also, before we get into the nitty gritty, if you missed it, I am running a giveaway for all the podcast listeners. Uh, we have grown tremendously over the last year, and we have now picked up listeners in 2 more other countries. So we are now listened to in 5 countries, which is pretty dope. I'm not saying we're, you know, bigger than Howard Stern, but I'm just saying I really appreciate all the support. So with that, I'm giving away 2 autographed jerseys. And if you had missed the previous episodes, the jerseys we're giving away is a 1 autographed Blake Corum jersey. So if you're watching, you can see it right now. And the other one is a JJ McCarthy autographed jersey. All you have to do to enter is 2 steps. Very simple. You follow the show on Twitter/X, and then you go to the YouTube channel, which again, all the links will be in the description. You go to the YouTube channel, and any video episode, whatever, just go into the comment section and type in your Twitter name/handle, whatever, Twitter handle you're at, and boom, you're done. So 1 entry per person. You have till August 25th, so just over a month away. And I'll announce 2 winners. There's going to be 1 winner for each jersey, and kind of picked out randomly. So if you want a chance to win one of those bad boys I just showed you, now's the time. Okay? Again, Southeast Michigan Podcast is free and available wherever you choose to watch or listen. Up on YouTube, right? As mentioned, you can click the bell for notifications, subscribe there as well. And if you could be so kind to rate the show 5 stars. All right. Like I said, short and sweet, kind of bring you up to date kind of thing. We'll start with, like, I'd call segment 1, really. Okay. So just announced over today by the Big Ten Conference, Will Johnson is being named preseason Defensive Player of the Year. Dylan Gabriel, Oregon's quarterback, is the preseason Offensive Player of the Year. And then Dan Lanning, Oregon's head coach, was voted on for being the Big Ten preseason Coach of the Year. Outside of that, really, that's about it. We will get into some more quote-unquote headlines and stuff in this next segment. And before we do, we'll touch on some recruiting. So I won't spend too much time on here. Usually I go through a little bit more in depth on the prospects. But here, it was learned today actually. MSU running back Jalen Berger reportedly is jumping to UCLA, according to On3's Pete Nakos. So if you go on On3's transfer portal thing, it shows him still in the portal since I think April 23rd, but no team officially by his name. So still technically a Michigan State Spartan, but it sounds like he's jumping to UCLA. And if you didn't know, Chamber was formerly from Wisconsin, so now he's basically going to be on his third team in 5 years, and all Big Ten, all the same conference. Um, and we haven't previewed Michigan State, so now that will be kind of updated into that when we preview the Spartans. And of course, if you go back and listen to the UCLA preview episode, which we did first, that was the first team, one of the first two teams we did. And you hear that, you won't hear Jalen Berger's name, of course, because we was it second week of July we started this. All right, anyways, we started that. Since our last Michigan football edition, the Wolverines grabbed 3 more commits for 2024. 4-star tight end Alex Olesh from Pennsylvania. Now that was a big get. Really big body tight end, and kind of fought, Bama, and Penn State for his pledge, and they went out and did it. So that is a pretty huge get. So Michigan is kind of in line to be kind of like the next tight end if they can continue to keep producing these guys. I know Luke Schoonmaker wasn't a day one draft pick, but he's still on the Cowboys, and he gets a pass thrown his way from time to time. And now you see, I know Eric All transferred to Iowa, but he's on the Cincinnati Bengals. And just several others. I'm drawing a blank, but you get the point. And now you got Colson Loveland, who's in line to be the Mackey Award winner this year. And you have Brady Prescorn, Zach Marshall, a lot of guys on the team right now that can possibly make a big name for themselves. So anyways, I digress. 4-star defensive back Ivan Taylor out of Florida. Now they flipped him from Notre Dame, and he is the son of former Pittsburgh Steeler Ike Taylor. 4-star wide receiver Philip Wright III out of Louisiana. And so if you don't know, the wide receivers coach, Ron Bellamy, former Michigan Wolverine himself, is from the state of Louisiana. And so there is kind of some pull there. So right there, those 3 commits, that puts Michigan in 13th in the rankings, according to Rivals and On3, which seemingly are never on the same page with a lot of things, but they are on the same page this year, at least so far, with in regards to Michigan's overall ranking. So right now they got 16 commits, and that's 13th best. All right, that is pretty much going to do it for segment 1. Like I said, short and sweet. When we come back for segment 2, we are going to get into a Connor Stalions update, and we'll some little chit chatting about the new NCAA 25 football game. Don't go anywhere. Sports betting has rapidly risen in popularity, and I want to connect you all with an opportunity to get started or get ahead. Having multiple sportsbook accounts is the most simple way to maximize your profits, and there has never been a better time to sign up. When you visit my page, signupexpert.com/southeast, you'll be connected to all the sportsbooks in your region, along with a review of each platform and its unique benefits. All of these sportsbooks have valuable sign-up offers for new users, and when you register through my link, you'll automatically receive the top offer at each one. When you use multiple sportsbooks, you ensure that you can always access the best available odds, which is key to successful sports betting. If you want to take advantage of these benefits and support our brand, please consider signing up for your next sportsbook at signupexpert.com/southeast. All right, back for segment 2. Before we get into the Connor Stalions things, I did want to show some graphics. You know how I like my graphics. Real quick, I just some things that would catch my eye and I think that are interesting. So if you're watching right now, PFF College is always a fun follow because they are constantly doing their grades, charts and statistics, and I always think it's pretty cool. So they tweeted out most all-time wins without a national championship, and of course, there's a couple of Big Ten teams on here now. Um, Starting with the bottom here, North Carolina State's at 614. Baylor's next at 618. Then you got Oregon at 627. Purdue at 630. And then this one's a little harder to read, but I think it says 663. That's Missouri. 685 North Carolina, 688 Utah, 693 West Virginia, 737 Virginia Tech, and then Wisconsin leading the way here at 738 without a national championship. Now, what stood out to me, of course, was Purdue being there, but also Wisconsin. Wisconsin's been one of the OGs, right? And so obviously we're looking for Luke Fickell to take them to the next to the promised land. They've always been run first, having sumo wrestler offensive line and running the ball 50 times a game, and now they are literally doing the complete opposite, trying to run air raid. It didn't quite work out last year, but Wisconsin I thought was interesting up there. Its next two was Virginia Tech at that two spot. If you look back at Frank Beamer when he was coaching there in the what was it mid 2000s till the late 2010s, he was consistently rocking, double digit wins almost every single year. 10-3, 11-2, stuff like that. Very consistent, just always was never able to get over the hump. So those caught my eye, both being there. And of course, Oregon, they've had a lot of good teams in modern day, and you would think that it's the dam's going to break loose soon. Like they got a lot of momentum in recruiting, and Dan Lanning is, of course, we just mentioned that he's up for preseason accolades and stuff like that. So they got a lot of momentum going on. Let's see if Oregon can do it. Let me get this off the screen real quick. All right. Next one. This one was fewest points allowed per game by year since 2014. So essentially the college football playoff. And see right here. We'll start from the bottom. 2014, Ole Miss, 16 points per game. 2015 was Wisconsin at 13.7. 2016 was Bama with 13 flat. They were best again in 2017, 11.9. Then Clemson in 2018 with 13.1. 2019, Georgia was 12.6. 2020 was Northwestern at 15.9. How about that? 2021, Georgia, 10.2. That's just nasty. And then Illinois in 2022 was 12.8. And then Michigan in 2023 last year, 10.4. So statistically, the best defense in terms of points allowed was 2021 Georgia. And so again, I thought it was. I'm assuming the reason why Illinois was there is partially because of Ron Walters, and he's now the head man in Purdue. So there you go. Again, I thought that was another interesting one there. All right, let's pull up the next one. Leaders in defensive yards allowed per game since 2014. All right, so we got Clemson at 2014, 260.8. Boston College, 254.6 in 2015. 2016, Michigan, 261.8. The year that should have been a lot different for our boys. 2017, Bama, 261.4. 2018, Mississippi State, 263.8. 2019, Ohio State, 260 flat. 2020, West Virginia, 291.4. 21, Wisconsin, 239.7. 2022 Iowa at 270.8, and then Michigan last season at 247 flat. I got to be honest, I thought maybe Iowa could have been on there at least one more time. Alas, they are not. All right, one more before we get into um, the other fun stuff. All right, this one was via Showtime CFB. All right, now this Twitter account only has like 300 followers, so um, we'll see what happens. We'll see if I think this is legit though. Um, last time each Big Ten team beat an SEC team. Illinois never. Washington 1989. Southern Cal 2006, Michigan State 2011, Rutgers 2013, Oregon 2013, Ohio State 2014, Indiana 2014, Nebraska 2014, Wisconsin 2016, Minnesota 2019, Northwestern 2020. Wonder who they beat. It's probably like Vanderbilt or something, right? I'm just kidding. Purdue and UCLA both 2021. Iowa, Penn State 2022, Maryland 2023, and Michigan 2024. So there you have it on that graphic. Now let's move into the Big Ten preseason media poll, and this is on 3 by Alex Weber. This was about 12 hours ago. It says so. Cleveland.com, which puts out the full media poll every year, published the 2024 edition on Monday morning. There was no surprise at the very top of the rankings. You can view the entire 1 through 18 now. So if you are watching, you can see Purdue. We'll start from 18 to 1. You got Purdue, Indiana, Michigan State, UCLA, Northwestern, Illinois, Minnesota, Maryland, Washington at 10, Rutgers at 9, Nebraska, Wisconsin, USC at 6, Iowa at 5, Michigan at 4, Penn State at 3, Oregon at 2, and Ohio State at 1. And Oregon with 6 first place votes, Ohio State with 21. So I really don't have any qualms about that, right? It's early preseason stuff, right? Um, it's kind of take out Oregon, right? You take out Oregon in this preseason poll and just pretend it's like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it would just look just like how Jim Harbaugh was faring out before the 2021 breakthrough, where you had Ohio State and Penn State always ahead of Michigan in the pre-season stuff, and you got 3 teams ahead of us, Jimmy. Remember those memes? So yeah, it's kind of made me reminisce about that a little bit there. All right, next article. Let's get into it. We have Netflix announces Sign Stealer documentary featuring Connor Stalions. This is also by Alex Weber. This was 8 hours ago. All right, before we get into this, I still don't understand how we have no official word or confirmation anything from the University of Central Michigan if Connor Stalions was on their sideline for the Michigan State game. It blows my freaking mind. I do not understand how they have not said yes or no. It just keeps continuing to go. Like when we had our last Michigan edition, maybe the second to last one, right? We read an article about Michigan's AD, like hoping to get a word within the next coming week, week or two. And the investigation is apparently going on. We also chit-chatted how the verdict was going to be in, or the NOA notice of allegations, like something. We didn't get any of that news. We got news that in August, late August, Netflix is dropping a documentary on the I believe the Untold series, and Connor Stalions is going to be heavily involved in it. It just absolutely blows my mind that this is where we're at. This is where we're at. I mean, the Nothing Burger continues to grow. That narrative continues to grow. So let's get into this article, okay? Um, I was at my son's baseball practice tonight, and when I seen this come across my phone, I go, "What? What are we talking about here?" Um, all right. Netflix has announced that they will be releasing a documentary centered around Michigan football's sign stealing scandal, featuring Connor Stalions telling his side of the story. Interesting. Interesting. The investigation isn't even complete yet, and we're already doing a documentary on it. I mean, is that good or bad? Is that good or bad? I don't. I don't feel like that's a completely good thing. Stallions was the primary scapegoat for the sign stealing scandal, which plagued Michigan during its 2023 national championship season. Now, less than a year after such a crazy story went down, Netflix will spotlight it as part of their Untold series for this year in an episode called Sign Stealer, which will first hit screens on August 27th, and it stars none other than Stallions himself explaining his side of the story. In a tweet announcing several different coming episodes of Untold, Netflix shared that a Stallions-driven doc will be involved writing Sign Stealer. August 27th, Connor Stalions shares his side of Michigan's alleged sign-stealing scheme that turned him into a viral villain. Oh, the douchebag did it to himself. Let's see. Okay, blah blah blah. All right, the last time Stallions made public comments of major consequence, he was giving a statement alongside his resignation. He issued a few words and wasn't bitter over the way his time with the Wolverines had come to an end. I love the University of Michigan and its football program, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity I've had to work with the incredible student athletes. Coach Harbaugh and the other coaches have been a part of the Michigan football family during my tenure. I do not want to be a distraction from what I hope to be a championship run for the team, and I will continue to cheer them on. Stallions was also investigated by the NCAA after reports arose of Michigan staff sign stealing against opponents. Stallions allegedly bought tickets to four different campus games of four college football playoff contenders the previous season. Prior to Stallions' resignation, coaches and athletic directors from across the Big Ten went to a conference commissioner, Tony Petitti, urging him to discipline Michigan for the ugly scandal. Shortly afterwards, Stallions wound up out of a job. So that pretty much wraps that article up. Now, again, I told you, if you've been listening to me from day one, right? I said I will walk away from Michigan football as a fan. I kid you not. I will walk away from Michigan football if Gene Harbaugh knew the knowledge of any of this, right? And all the reports were all in unison saying he had nothing to do with it, had no knowledge. And again, it comes down to you're the head man, you're the president of your football program, right? You have the keys to the castle. You are responsible for everything that goes on. Now, if you really take a step back and think about that, there's so many moving parts, right? And there's from Chiefs and Indians. Like there's just people at the top, people in the bottom, and somewhere in between. And we've read articles. We talked about it week to week as the story unfolded. We kind of did a recap just a month and a half ago about it. And it's still amazing to me that, again, Central Michigan has not publicly confirmed or denied if he was on the sidelines. It's absolutely baffling. And we are awaiting the notice of allegations to come out. And the rumor is that it's going to be a big nothing burger. There is going to be, you know, a disciplinary action, sure, but it's not going to be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Now, the rival fan bases are taking off with this. They're having fun, right? And asterisk that, asterisk this. But the problem is with or without him on the sidelines, Michigan went out and throttled and did what they did anyways. And before I go off on another tangent, again, we heard from coaches last season that and other fans, oh, Michigan's got all that playbook knowledge down, blah blah blah. You know, so and so's got to revamp and retool their scheme and their system, so because Michigan's going to know everything that they're doing, but then Michigan over here on the other hand's got to know apparently 15 other teams, all their signals and stuff within 4 days before the big game, and then they have to know theirs. It's a lot of information to take in, with on top of schoolwork and travel. Give me a freaking break. All right, so there's that. Figure I read that article because again, I thought it was pretty hilarious that that's coming first. Now, again, the NOA could come before that. We got some time till August 27th, right? But it's not the update a lot of people were hoping for some or looking forward to or waiting on. So, anyways, let's uh, let's let's close out on NCAA 25. So EA Sports College Football 25 has already made a ridiculous amount of money. Now this was actually 3 days ago. So as of this recording, it's Monday, July 22nd. So this was 3 days ago, right? So just very short time after it was officially released. Um, the long-awaited, excuse me, this is on GameRant.com. This is by James Ratcliffe. The long-awaited return of EA Sports College Football 25 has already proven a huge hit with audiences, as EA Sports reported that the deluxe edition of the game has sold over 2.2 million copies in 3 days. Considering the $99 price tag of the deluxe edition, EA Sports College Football 25 made over 200 million before its fully July 19th release. EA Sports College Football 25 is the first game of its kind in over a decade, following the NCAA creating new rules for athletes to receive paid compensation from brands that use their name, image, and likeness. With over 10,000 featured NCAA athletes opting into the game, College Football 25 features Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, Colorado wide receiver DB Travis Hunter, and Michigan running back Donovan Edwards on the cover. Users who bought the deluxe edition started playing on July 16th, and the social media post claimed that College Football 25 had over 700,000 players online during that window. Although EA Sports College Football 25 has some burning questions left to answer, its initial success is not one of them. First reported by IGN, EA Sports College Football 25 Deluxe Edition sold over 2.2 blah 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 million units across PS5 and Xbox Series XS consoles. When factoring, okay, so repeating themselves there. In addition to that staggering total, over 600,000 players were logged into the game via EA Play Trial. Now that College Football 25 has entered its full release, that number is expected to grow over the next weekend on both PlayStation and Xbox. See here, right here. Circana's Matt Piscatella posted that EA Sports College Football 25 was the third most played game on the Xbox Series XS, behind Call of Duty and Fortnite. EA Sports' latest title ranked fourth on the PS5 charts, with Grand Theft Auto 5 taking the third spot behind the aforementioned titles. Piscatella noted that those numbers were taken during College Football 25's early access window from July 16th to 19th, and said that the game may be the mass market breakout hit of the current console generation. While College Football 25 is a hit with fans, it is not without its issues. EA Sports said that a fix for outstanding issues such as the Stanford logo will arrive in an upcoming patch. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to drown on too much longer, but I want to say I've seen a screenshot or on Instagram, TikTok, somewhere where I think at one point there was almost a million people playing this game online. I think it was just over 930,000 or something like that playing the game simultaneously. I think it's simultaneously, right? It's not like in total it's not like a counter that goes up, right? I think it was all at once. It was like 930,000. That's absolutely crazy. And I was curious to see what where this stacked up in terms of sales when it's all said and done. But how do you guys like the game? I got it Monday on the pre-order, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's extremely difficult, and there's a lot of pissing and moaning down here in the man cave when I am playing it from time to time. But it's addicting. It's still a fun game. I did Road to Glory, and I did a four-star quarterback, and I kind of chose Purdue. I was, as a diehard Michigan fan, I always kind of like to venture outside the box and play other places instead of just hearing "Hail to the Victors" a million times in a dynasty season, right? So I picked Purdue, been running with that, and then getting the online dynasty going with the fantasy football league and stuff like that. But um, starting a rebuild on an offline solo dynasty with Kennesaw State, I kind of seen them being mentioned in the game a few months ago, and I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting. They got a stadium that's barely the size of a high school stadium in Texas. They're FBS for the first time this year, and they have a 5'9" quarterback. So I was like, why the hell not? And immediately, actually before I did the Dynasty, I did a Play Now game, right, with Michigan, and I played like Fresno State just to get the feels for it. Great. But then I went over and I put on All American for Kennesaw State. And I didn't realize on how hard that has become. And I'm not gonna lie, with a 71 overall, 73 overall, whatever it is, I toned it down to varsity because I wanted to be like a challenging but also a fun and relaxing experience. Not where like every game I'm like the airplane pilot in the movie Airplane where he's pouring sweat and he's constantly wiping his face. Like the game's crazy on varsity, and maybe I'm just not good. I played 2014 all the way up till now, but on varsity, and I'm in these absolute barn burner shootouts that are like eclipsing 100 total points each week. It's absolutely wild. So I actually toned that solo dynasty down to varsity. I plan on keeping the fantasy football dynasty at All American, just so it's not so cutthroat. But it is absolutely excruciating. I'll leave you with this. With Kennesaw State, I was playing Western Kentucky, I think it was. They're 2-5. I was 5-2, and all of a sudden, in the second half, I just couldn't stop them on defense. And two times I got him on third and long, and I don't know what it is. And I've seen people complain about this, not just me. On third down, it seems like the computer just converts 90% of the time, if not better. I get him on third and 25, and it somehow goes for a 60-yard bomb. Get him on third and 12, they convert it. They get on a third and 18, they get all the way down to the red zone. It's just mind-boggling. And when I got them on fourth down to punt two times in this one game with Kennesaw State against Western Kentucky. The same guy roughed the kicker, gave them the first down, and then they score on the ensuing play both times. So the next time I stopped him on fourth down, I took control of that guy and I ran the complete opposite direction as to not allow him to do that again because I wasn't even controlling that player. That pissed me off to no end. Like I was legitimately just about to drop kick my TV, and then of course going to overtime against Western Kentucky, and then hold them to a field goal. Luckily, and then I run two run plays in the corner and win. So, anyways, that's my bitch session about the game. But again, it is super fun. It has its moments. But man, I tell you what, it can get a little absurd at times. Um, anyways, that wraps up for this episode. Again, I had that jersey giveaway. Get in the links, follow those steps, and get you entered. And like, share, subscribe to the show. Appreciate y'all listening. That's why I'm doing that giveaway. Really do. Anyways, go blue, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.